and Charles Hannegriff.
Yeah, for some reason or another, you sound a little taller on radio.
Is it live? Is it live?
It is Cinco de Mayo here at Modesto, corner of Burbank and Nicholson. Welcome to the Monday edition, Cinco de Mayo style here at Modesto. 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. I'm Charles Hannegriff, Jimmy Odd. Jordan Kinch back in the studio. Good to have you with us, and we'd love to have you out here with us at Modesto. We're on the patio area where the weather could not be any better.
It's unreal, huh?
All the tents are out for the big Cinco de Mayo celebration here. Got a lot to tell you about here at Modesto. We're glad to be here on this fabulous day. Jimmy, how are you? I know it's a Kentucky Derby weekend, big SEC baseball weekend, NBA playoffs weekend.
A little bit of everything. So Michael Baychuk and I were at Beau Rivage for Derby, Oaks Day, and the second half of Oaks Day after Ruffinos, and then all day, 9:30 on for the Derby day. And I have never seen the Beau Rivage lines longer for the tellers. They were rolling through some stuff. Friday, I said, man, I think there's some more people here than usual. Well, it was. Now, they didn't have the relief that you can they had the where we go for the Super Bowl party, the viewing party upstairs in the ballroom. They had a viewing party for that, but they didn't have the theater open for a viewing area. Charlie, more crowd than Super Bowl.
Wow.
In that Super Bowl, at the line to get bets in, and actually in there to. I mean, they just tried to cram as many as they could in there. I guess people just insisted, but it was a lot. It was a lot, but man, it was a fun time. But kind of know some people hit the try at the Super, and kind of chalky to where they're like, man, this is not paying like a usual Super for the Kentucky Derby. That's when you have the second and third choice, or the first and third choice that come in 1-2. Yeah. I mean, you're gonna, but damn, Churchill Downs eat your heart out with this weather, huh?
It can't.
I mean, they got smashed.
Yeah,
delayed on Friday.
Yeah,
and then just all day Saturday, huh?
Mud, and more mud. Was kind of the deal of the day, in the SEC, there were series all over the place that were delayed, including the LSU. There were a lot of doubleheaders had to be played. Games resumed, full doubleheaders. LSU had a full doubleheader on Saturday. So the weather was all throughout this part of the country, southeast part of the country, that was affecting it. So where are we? LSU drops 2 out of 3 to Texas A&M over the weekend. They split the doubleheader on Saturday and lost in the 8th inning when they gave up 4 runs to Texas A&M on Sunday. I do, the small picture first, the games themselves, and we'll get into big picture. LSU, this was a really competitive series. Nobody ever led by 3 runs in this series, so it had, especially with the crowds there. Once the rain got out, Friday night was a monsoon, but once they got out of there, the crowds were into it. A&M needs these games to ensure their place in the NCAA tournament, and of course LSU coming in with a top 3 national ranking. This was a regional type atmosphere. This is the type of talent you're going to see in a regional, this type of atmosphere, the type of grinded out at bat by at bat, pitch by pitch. That's what you're going to see. So it's good prep from that standpoint. The Tigers didn't hit enough this weekend. I know I'm not breaking any news there. They scored 3 runs in a doubleheader on Saturday, and that was enough to get them one game because Anthony Ianson threw the game of his life. And then just 4 runs in the game on Sunday, which looked like it might be enough to stand up, but ultimately wasn't. The good first. LSU's are going to run two pitchers out there that can go up against 1 and 2 for anybody. Cade Anderson, another 12 strikeouts in 6 innings. He only gave up 1 run in the game on Friday. The first game of the series game on Saturday. And there was a costly error in the outfield that really hurt LSU, and another one that wasn't ruled an error that was misplayed. LSU's frankly been misplaying a few too many balls in the outfield of late for my liking, and it prompted a switch by Jay Johnson, Derek Curiel, and Chris Stanfield in the last 2 games of the series. They flopped places, but Anderson was plenty good enough to win. Zach Cowan, who's been lights out all year, came in and really for the first time, I think all year, kind of struggled a little bit. He only got 1 out. He gave up the 2 runs, and that was enough. LSU could never put together real offensive threats. I think in the game, I think they had 4 at bats with runners in scoring position. So it was just a really tough outing. And Ryan Prager pitched the way he pitched in the postseason last year. A&M got on his back and went all the way to the finals. I mean, he wasn't the only one, obviously, but he was probably the biggest cog in that rotation last year that got him all the way to the finals. He pitched like that. This year, he hasn't pitched as well. He did in this game. And A&M takes the opener by a score of 3-1. The second game, Anthony Ianson, who has just been pitching better and better and better as the season has gone along, threw a complete game on only 112 pitches, and he only gave up 4 base runners, and he struck out 14. That's a pretty good Texas A&M lineup over there. Laviolette is going to be a very high pick in the draft. Sorrell, who was the hero on Sunday, is an outstanding player, and they really did the job. He did the job against that top 4 in the lineup. They were only 2 for 16 on the day, and he finished just as strong as he started. He got through the 8th inning on just 8 pitches. They ran him back out there for the 9th, and he nailed it down. It meant that LSU could save their bullpen. They didn't get very much in the way of offensive production in that game either. But Daniel Dickinson's 2 walks helped in the thing. Ethan Fry had a big RBI double, and they were able to get home. The third game is the one that everybody will probably talk about for most of the beginning part of the week. LSU took a 4-2 lead into the bottom of the 8th inning. Luis Hernandez's 2-run homer was the difference. Kason Evans, who started the game, I thought he battled, but it took him 93 pitches to get through 3 1/3. The strike zone on Sunday was about the size of Tom Thumb's wristwatch. So I thought he battled. I thought Miles Patton had to battle as well. He was a guy that came in with a 6+ ERA in SEC play. And he pitched obviously a little bit better than that, although he did end up giving up the 2 runs on his way out in the 6th inning. And you get to the 8th, and you're trying to finish up, and you get a little bit unlucky. Jay Johnson had gone with his lefty-lefty matchups against Laviolette. Primo had gotten him out with a strikeout. Williams had gotten him out with a strikeout. Connor Ware makes the pitch that he's supposed to make, and he gets a little dribbler to third base. But it was kind of in no man's land. Braswell did what he could. He couldn't get the ball there, and Laviolette reaches. Then, Cowan comes in the game, and Hensler hits one kind of off the end of the bat that bloops out into right field. Neither one of these were bad pitches. They were just balls that were placed. So then you got Zach Cowan. That's the guy you want in there. I mean, the ERA of 1 coming into the weekend, he just did not pitch as well as he usually has. Now, Sorrell hit a pitch on the outer half of the plate. I wasn't wild about the location of the pitch if for no other reason than the wind was blowing out to left field. You get it up in that jet stream, and that was the one place that the ball was really carrying, but it wasn't a terrible pitch either. And Sorrell, who's a 3-hole hitter and he's hitting 350 on the season, hit it out. Heartbreaking, but not fatal either to what LSU's got going on. I thought this was going to be a tough spot for LSU. I said that on Friday. A&M desperately needed these wins, and you were in their park. They were coming off of 3 one-run losses. Yeah, maybe the baseball guys were just with them a little bit on those 2 dink hits in the 8th inning yesterday. It is in no way. LSU's RPI is still 8. They're still probably right about where they need to be. Get 4 the last 6, and that includes a trip to South Carolina, who's really struggling right now. And of course, the red hot Arkansas team coming in this weekend. You're in good shape, but the offense has got to get going. You're right now. Jay Johnson's trying to push the right buttons. Whether it be a Jake Brown or Ethan Fry. Brown was 3 for 5 against Alabama, so you play him against Tennessee. He's 1 for 11, then he's 0 for 4, so you sit him. Brown, who was 0 for 5 against Tennessee, so he didn't start the series, comes in and goes 4 for 8 in the last 2 games. You're just trying to guess along with them. I'm waiting for LSU to kind of get hot. I thought Jared Jones' 3-run homer to walk it off against Tennessee might get him going. He's got 1 RBI in the 5 games since. Curiel, last Saturday, first time that he hasn't gotten on base all season, and he goes 6 for his next 6. Well, he was 1 for 12 in this series. I was encouraged by Stephen Milam this weekend. It's the first time he's had a hit in all 3 games of the series since the Texas series, but he was 5 for 35 coming in. They just got to get Dickinson. He was 7 for 11 in the Alabama series, 7 for 14 in the Alabama series. He's 2 for 17 since. The bats have got to get going. We've seen all of these kids hit. We've seen all these kids hit in SEC play, but right now they just can't seem to get over the slump. The good news is they're beating some good pitchers. They may not have hit the pitchers themselves, but they won on Friday night against Oklahoma. They won on Friday night against Texas. They won on Friday night against Tennessee. They are capable of doing that. So that's kind of where we are. You would have loved to have gotten that last one. It would have given you maybe a little bit of a cushion, but nobody is immune in this league. A&M got swept the weekend before. Texas swept them. They got swept this weekend. Georgia, number 1 RPI team in the country, has been swept twice this season on the road. Arkansas, they get the sweep this weekend against Texas. They lost 3 straight series before that weekend. And Texas lost that series after they gone 19-2.
Texas too.
Yeah, they did. They absolutely did. Tennessee has now lost 4 series out of 5. So it happens to everybody. You just got to hope this week is exams.
I think it's the bats, Charlie.
The bats are not going right now.
But
they're not.
I mean, the A&M in their previous conference series at 7 series had given up an average of 18 runs per series. LSU got 7. Yeah. So 7. So, I mean, only 21 hits, 7 runs. Now, you did say A&M's going to get in their pitching form. This is back-to-back their best pitching performance. Even in a loss, they only gave up 11 runs total to Texas and Austin. So that's their season low of their 8 series, the last 2. So maybe they're coming into form. You said that before, that they were more desperate. Coming into this weekend, 8-13 in conference play, clearly on the bubble. And they're still struggling. Laviolette ain't playing like he.
Laviolette is really, really struggling. And they played into him. They brought 3 pitchers in to get him out, 3 left-handed pitchers in to get him out. The first 2 struck him out. The third one, he hits a little dribbler to third base. It, kind of rolls in no man's land, so he got on. But they handled him. In fact, the top
kind of dodging bullets. So before the big blow, stranded the base loaded with the 6.
The 6 was it the 6th or 7th? Yeah, they it felt like they were playing with fire. Cowan was not as dominant as he has been. You saw that in the game on Saturday. For whatever reason, the kid's been as good as you can ask for all season. Wasn't his best, but the hit before that was a little dink, and that sometimes that happens to you. You get a roller, you get a dink, and then you get a ball.
He didn't get shelled.
No, he gave up the home run. That's what everybody's gonna look at. Cowan, I'd trust Cowan. I'd run him right back out there if they were playing this afternoon or Tuesday or Friday or whenever. He just didn't
what pitch was that for him?
11.
Really?
He threw like 25 pitches the weekend. No, the one that I loved LSU on Sunday because I thought like the weekends prior against Tennessee, they got into the back half of that Tennessee bullpen and they really, really did a lot of damage. I thought that they would get Miles Patton out of the game a lot sooner than they did, and they didn't. He got him into the 7th inning, and they had Weston Moss, who is their best relief pitcher. He's there, Cowan, and he was really, really good. I thought Case and Evans battled. Like I said, it took him 93 pitches to get into the fourth inning. I thought, and this is not in any way a bias, I thought against either team. I thought the umpiring was extremely inconsistent over the weekend, not favored towards either team. I just thought it's one of my pet peeves when the strike zone is different with 2 strikes than it is with no strikes or 1 strike. Drives me nuts. And all 3 home plate umpires were reluctant to call a 3rd strike for both teams. So that was frustrating. I thought it frustrated Evans a lot on Sunday. I thought he could have maybe gotten a little bit deeper in the game because he didn't get hit hard, but the walk total was up, which is not like him. I thought the zone was a little bit squeezed.
I mean, Alabama scored 14 runs, Vandy 16, Kentucky in the same park scored 31 runs.
Yeah.
Tennessee 19, South Carolina 19, Arkansas 17, Texas 11. LSU scored just 7 runs.
Elon scored twice as many as LSU. Okay, if you want to go back into the non-conference, this was not a good weekend for the LSU Bats. No.
And this is a now I don't have SEC in front of me overall. Arkansas just passed them up this weekend, for batting, but we know about LSU's non-conference schedule was extremely weak. So, do you have the SEC hitting statistics?
LSU's hitting 267.
Where is that ranked?
In league play?
7th. 7th.
Yeah. And I know that this is a better hitting team than what they have showed the last few weeks, but it's time to show it, man. It's getting late early out here for the LSU Bats. So it's been a rough go here for the last few weeks.
We're over here at Cinco de Mayo. Yes, indeed, man. What the weather is dialed up. The entire staff here at Modesto is decorating. Tents are up. Margarita machines are up. Setting up the stage for live music. It's going to be all day, all night over here at Modesto. Modesto on Burbank. Burbank just off of Nicholson. We've right next to our friends over at Walk-Ons, the original Walk-Ons. So Cinco de Mayo, this is one of my stops for sure. Every Cinco de Mayo. It's festive, huh, Charlie?
Yeah.
All the flowers, the colors, the
yeah.
breeze blowing through. This is you can't ask for anything more.
This is fantastic. We invite you to come by Burbank at Nicholson and join us for the festivities. Live at Modesto, live at Lunch 104.5, ESPN Baton Rouge.
Live at lunch.
Since the 1930s, Supreme Rice has delighted their customers for all of your favorite South Louisiana dishes. Whether you like the brown, long grain, medium grain, jasmine, or the new parboiled rice, Supreme Rice makes your favorite dishes even better. They even have a healthy low glycemic rice, a great option for diabetics and those who have high insulin resistance. Supreme Rice is proud to be part of the Climate Smart program, which promotes water conservation and reduces methane emissions so future generations of Louisiana farmers can enjoy the same benefits. For more information and great recipes, find them online at supremerice.com.
By now, you know that we do our show every.
All right, so Troy, 11:30.
Yeah.
Okay.
Room is ideal for larger groups, or if you just want to watch the game on one of our 3 large TVs. The tamales are the most popular appetizer, but don't forget the seared tuna with the sriracha glaze for the perfect blend of sweet and spicy. You can't go wrong also with the flash fried oysters or the shrimp. The porterhouse is the perfect steak to share. Strip on one side, filet on the other, prepared at different temps if you like, bone in to maximize flavor. Dozy Place on Government Street, just off Acadian in the heart of Mid-City. Sammy's Grill on Highland Road since 1988, a hometown favorite for tailgating and watching LSU games in a casual atmosphere with the friendliest service. Right now, we're boiling crawfish 7 days a week, Monday through Friday. First batch comes out at 5 p.m., weekends at noon. Sammy serves a wide mix of authentic Louisiana food prepared to order with the best ingredients available. Fresh Louisiana seafood, Cajun favorites, burgers, and po' boys, all built from scratch. Our kids' menu and popular appetizers are sure to please the pickiest of eaters. Sammy's Grill on Highland Road, near Starring since 1988.
This is Charles Haniger for Coastal Capital Advisors, your full-service financial planners. When it comes to retirement, there are no two situations alike. So Coastal Capital Advisors will work with you, your business partners, your legal team, and tax professionals to make sure those goals are achieved. Coastal Capital Advisors will work for you. I know, because they work for me. For more information, contact Philip Fontenot and his great staff at 337-981-1376 or online at coastalcapitaladv.com. Advisory services provided by New Age Advisors, LLC, doing business as Coastal Capital Advisors as a registered investment advisor. Securities offered through New Edge Securities, Inc., member FINRA, SIPC.
Bayou Ford powers the Watch 1045 ESPN YouTube channel. Watch us live daily. Find what you missed on demand and subscribe to each show's channel to get notified when we go live or new videos arrive. Plus, discover exclusive YouTube broadcasts you can't find anywhere else. From AFR to OTB and everything in between. It's the Watch 1045 ESPN Baton Rouge YouTube channel powered by Bayou Ford.
Have you been arrested or even issued a traffic ticket? Everyone makes mistakes. Hi, I'm Dana Brown from the law offices of O.C. Brown. If you find yourself in an unfortunate situation with the law, call us today and we can help you resolve your problem, whether it's just a traffic matter or something more serious. No criminal matter is too big or too small for us to aggressively and effectively represent you. Before making any decisions, call us at 225-343-1111 for your free consultation. You can also visit us at ocbrown.com. The law offices of O.C. Brown, your law firm for a lifetime.
This is Charles Hanniger for Home Bank. Louisiana based since 1908 for all your business and personal banking solutions for any needs. Check out the local bankers ready to help you meet your financial goals with competitive rates, great annual percentage yields, and low minimum balances. Talk to one of the local bankers at any Baton Rouge location, corporate, Sherwood Forest, Longform Village, and Bluebonnet. You'll also find Home Bank locations in Acadiana, New Orleans, the North Shore, Natchez, and Houston. Visit home24bank.com for more information. Home Bank, member FDIC.
When it comes to celebrating life, there's no better place than Ruffino's. With locations in Baton Rouge and Lafayette, Ruffino's is a steak, seafood, and Italian-inspired restaurant that focuses on the celebration of life, regardless of the occasion. Whether it's the food they serve or the service they provide, their goal is to ensure a remarkable experience for their guests that is always remembered. To view our menu, visit ruffinosrestaurant.com. Ruffino's, where Louisiana comes to celebrate life.
Live at lunch with Ott and Hanny from Modesto on Burbank on 104.5 ESPN, Baton Rouge.
Shows available on demand, louisianasports.net and 104.5 ESPN.com. New Hannycast will be dropping this afternoon. Myself, Dr. Dan Canterbury on YouTube. Should be dropping late this afternoon. But LSU's weekend against Texas A&M. Well, Jimmy, you were there for the Derby. Sovereignty ends up winning. Journalism, the favorite, comes in second. Baeza, is that I think how you say that?
Baeza.
Baeza was the late entry, and because of the scratch, ended up finishing third. And Final Gambit came fourth. It was a lot of mud, and of course, 20 people trying to get 20 horses trying to get to the first turn in the mud. Citizen Bull.
You saw Baffert's horse really bust out of there quick.
Yeah.
And that's a terrible. It's probably the least desirable post position of all. It's a little bit different with the 20 horse field to be number one. And Baffert's Derby hopefuls came into this one really ice cold. Now, he won a couple of races at Churchill, at some prices, over the course of the, the stay in the 3-day period. But no, the Derby hopefuls, he was a kind of a non-factor, but he had to hustle way too much to get out there in front.
Yeah, I thought the fractions for the mud were pretty quick. And
I mean, where was Sovereignty? Around after the first turn.
In I want to say
19th?
Somewhere about 16, 17 plays near the back. I had him only because right before the race. Well, who was the second choice when we started this thing? Sovereignty. Okay, I made a small bet. So I was watching him, and it's a little bit tougher to follow this race because
He wanted to keep him out of trouble.
Kept him out of trouble. I thought he got a really nice ride, and
you got to have some horse to do that too.
Yeah, you got to have.
When you can afford it. When you can win the Kentucky Derby and not take any chances, keep him out of trouble. You got some horse too.
He also got bumped out of the gate. He clipped a heel, which may actually keep him out of the Preakness because he's got a little crack. He got bumped maybe, I don't know, 50, 60 yards out of the gate. And I thought, that's
that far out the gate?
Yeah, it was. I'd say bumped. He clipped the other horse. And I thought, well, usually that's just enough in a race where you got to have everything break for you, even that early. But he's circle of field, journalism circle of field, and they're coming. They're both clear. and Sovereignty beat him. I thought it was, really well ridden by both of those jockeys, really well, a lot of horse, both in class of the field, and they did it, and Sovereignty was a little bit better. Journalism.
Who knows how young those horses are early in their developmental stage, how they enjoy the mud.
Correct.
Very few of those horses, rode in sloppy conditions. I mean, you got a Derby hopeful. You got to roll him out there. No, we'll just scratch him today.
Absolutely, and
Derby's different. How about the turf? Nobody rides on the turf when it's wet. They didn't take one race off the turf.
Yeah, that's right. Everywhere else besides Churchill Downs, you take them off the turf because it's going to tear up your track. But I guess they had too much money in these turf races to move them, huh? We'll fix the grass
I think
tomorrow.
it's safety conditions, safety concerns as well.
Yeah.
I mean, I just thought that, I'm not 100% sure. There's a lot of people that know a lot more about horse racing than me, that I hang around. But I was like, oh, geez, man, it's going to kill out. Mike was like, no, I'm not taking any off the turf.
Yeah, that is
I mean, you got horses all over the world coming in. I mean, it's a lot, and people just think this is one race. And this is 13 really good races. This is a little bit of a mini Breeders' Cup with your Breeders' Cup Classic being your Kentucky Derby. So obviously the Derby gets all the attention. I mean, it was about an hour before the race, an hour and a half is when everybody showed up at Beau Rivage. I mean, they want to see the one race, but horse racing people know this is a hell of a card, and you've got a lot of owners from a lot of different places that have sacrificed a lot of time and energy to get to Louisville for those races.
Burnham Square, the gelding finished 6th. Citizen Bull, the Baffert horse, ended up fading back to 15th. Luxor Cafe, the Japanese horse, finished 12th.
Yeah.
And D. Wayne Lucas, the soon-to-be 90-year-old trainer of American Promise, fell back and finished in 16th.
He won a race earlier that day.
Yeah, did he? I didn't.
Or Friday. I forget. The earlier Friday. Yeah, my pick, Luxor Cafe, not a non-factor.
Final Gambit, I thought ran a good race. Was one of our picks on Friday. Just couldn't quite get there, but ran a very respectable 4th. I thought in the race. So we'll see if Sovereignty runs in the Preakness.
Well, anything. First of all, you want to take precautions, see how he comes out the race, no matter if he gets clipped or not. He's getting clipped. It just takes some time, and they're going to take precautions, and every day that horse might be a little bit different, and so they're going to take their time. But trust me, those connections, they want to run. I thought he ran a strong race. I didn't think it was a fluke race. I didn't think it was a break, where you got a bunch of breaks and things like that. I agree with you. Kept him out of trouble. Well, you keep him out of trouble. Yeah. He had to go. I mean, he kind of shadowed the favorite.
Journalism, yeah.
And just sat on his hip and went a little bit wider than him. It was a little bit better than him, You
even hear the track announcers as they're hitting the top of the stretch.
Oh, he thinks journalism.
He thinks journalism. He said journalism picking off horses one by one. I'm like, Sovereignty's right on his, right on his hip.
Second chance, Charlie hits again.
Just right before the race, I said, let me throw $10 on his nose, and well, hey, that ended up working out pretty good. But Derby tickets are difficult to cash.
But
a lot of horses.
We're saying, Michael says, my brother hit the super. I'm like, holy what? I'm like, oh, that's kind of weak for a super, huh? It was, there's a lot more people than usual that claim they got a try or super dark. Usually it's a big ticket, but it was a little to form here.
Top 2 favorites. I would have thought, Baeza. Baeza. As a late entry, you almost never see.
Baeza had some hump though.
Did he?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, Flavian Pratt also, he had a sort of conditional mount. So Flavian Pratt behind Arad Ortiz is one of the hottest jockeys all around. Okay, he jumps off and gets on Baeza as soon as there was some room. He was the 21st horse, max 20 horses. When one horse scratched, Baeza gets in No, it's no surprise to get some support.
Well, he did. Rich Strike got in, I think, the day before the Derby. You remember when Rich Strike won it? It
went off at what?
80-1, something
right.
like that.
Baeza was no.
You didn't see that kind of support for Rich Strike, who ended up winning the race.
And don't forget our friends at Legacy Title, Chad Reynolds, Legacy Title for all your real estate closings, 296-0060. Full service title company servicing all of South Louisiana. Fast, friendly, professional service is what you get when you dial 296-0060. Chad Reynolds, Legacy Title, 296-0060.
Live at Modesto here on Cinco de Mayo, live at lunch, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Live at lunch.
This is Charles Haniger for Total Maintenance. Now is the time to get your AC cleaned and checked before those sweltering temperatures arrive. Ensure your unit is performing at max efficiency,
Jordan,
lower your monthly
should
bills,
be
and prolong the life of your central.
Oh, yeah, I see that. Yeah, I got you.
Okay.
That service down from $179 to $79. Call Total Maintenance for generators, electricity, and plumbing issues. In Baton Rouge, 480-1000, and in New Orleans, call 841-3300. Service today, every day at Total Maintenance. Sometimes it's so hard to find someone to do home repair, odd jobs due to storm damage, or just regular wear and tear over time to your home. Do like I did and call Clean Sweep Restoration and Demolition. Roofing, flooring, debris removal, electric, sheetrock, painting, and much more. Pretty much whatever home maintenance you need, Clean Sweep can handle it. Call Pat Green at 300-7064 for a free no-obligation estimate. Fully licensed and insured, reasonably priced, and for over 20 years in the greater Baton Rouge area. Clean Sweep Restoration and Demolition, 300-7064.
Louisiana, you've got a new home for coverage of LSU, the New Orleans Saints, and the Southeastern Conference. LouisianaSports.net. LouisianaSports.net. Feature stories, opinion columns, recruiting updates, in-game reports. And it's all free. No paywalls, no annoying pop-up ads, no recurring subscriptions. Just the content you crave. From the folks that bring you 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge, it's LouisianaSports.net.
With all of the financial headlines, are you worried if your retirement savings will last? The market's ups and downs can keep you guessing, especially if you're approaching retirement or considering it. If you have more questions and answers about what's next, let's work together to help ensure you're prepared for your journey. After all, retirement isn't the end of the trek, it's a new beginning. Stop by your local Edward Jones advisor. Tex Morris on Jefferson. Edward Jones, member SIPC. The new go-to pizza joint in downtown Baton Rouge is Town Square Pizza. Town Square Pizza, located on North Boulevard across from the courthouse, right next to Jolie Pearl, is the perfect in-and-out destination when grabbing a quick workday lunch or visiting local attractions on the weekend. Town Square Pizza, you guessed it, square pizzas are consistently flavored and cooked perfectly every single time. It's as simple as that. Town Square Pizza, downtown. Go Automotive has a great selection of new cars: Chevy, GMC, Hummer, Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, Ram. You rather a pre-owned vehicle? Using our resources, we'll help find you any vehicle that you're looking for. Our service department offers VIP service. You never have to come to the dealership. We'll pick up the vehicle at your home or office, drop off a loaner, service the vehicle, and return it when it's done. Mention my name, Jimmy Ott, for VIP pricing. The Chevy Tahoe I drive came from Go Automotive. That's Go Automotive in LaPlace and Plaquemine.
ALS is a progressive and neurodegenerative disease, and we need your help to find a cure. The mission of the ALS Association, Louisiana-Mississippi chapter, is to discover treatments and a cure for ALS, and to serve, advocate for, and empower people affected by ALS to live their lives to the fullest. Whether you are newly diagnosed, a military veteran, a caregiver, or someone looking to learn more about how to navigate living with ALS, they can help. Visit als.org to learn more. That's als.org.
Louisiana, you've got a new home for coverage of LSU, the New Orleans Saints, and the Southeastern Conference. LouisianaSports.net. LouisianaSports.net. Feature stories, opinion columns, recruiting updates, in-game reports. And it's all free. No paywalls, no annoying pop-up ads, no recurring subscriptions. Just the content you crave. From the folks that bring you 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge, it's LouisianaSports.net. 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. Jimmy, Charlie, and Troy. Three best buddies sitting around talking sports bets. Let's welcome in Troy Macker from Bet Rivers.
We return here at Modesto for the Cinco de Mayo edition of Live at Lunch. Out here on the patio, enjoying the great weather, terrific atmosphere. Hope you can make it out sometime later today and be a part of Cinco de Mayo here at Modesto.
Man, weather's great. Weather is great. So it's all. I've been here for several Cinco de Mayos. Man, they do it right.
Troy Macker, how was your weekend given the NBA and how things went this weekend?
It was great. There was a wide variety of betting options, outside just the NBA, even up until way late last night. It was just an incredible hockey game that people had the chance to catch the third period and overtime of the Jets Blues Game 7. Obviously there was the Kentucky Derby. There were a couple big fights. There was a big boxing match in Times Square. Once we get into April and May, certainly we have playoffs, but then it just becomes big event season, with big golf majors, tennis majors, horse racing, UFC events get very big. And then obviously you have big boxing matches around Cinco de Mayo, Memorial Day weekend and whatnot. So this is one of my favorite times of year just because there are big events that happen only, on Saturday. And then you got to wait another month until we have another big one.
Charlie, I know, we're on the ancillary hockey scene, especially you with, diving, head first into college baseball, but he had 2 Game 7s. One team had a 2-goal lead and lost. The other team had a 2-goal lead with less than 3 minutes to go and lost with the Troy 2 seconds. The game tying goal 2 seconds. I mean,
and we got taken. The sportsbook got taken on that Blues Jets game, and not just because obviously of the live betting odds you could get. Late in the third period, 50-1 on the Jets to win, and they were down 3-1 with 5 minutes to go, and they scored with 5 minutes and then with 2 seconds to go. But they were down early 2-0 in their own barn, which is an incredible atmosphere place up in Winnipeg. It's very hard to play there. So there was live betting. The Jets I believe had the best record or the most points in the NHL, if not the second most. So this team is very, very good. Obviously, we know playoff hockey, anything can happen. We see number one seeds lose, but for the entire game, the favorite was a pretty decent, money line underdog just because they got down too early and they didn't score until late in the second period. So if you were backing them to make a comeback because they are the number one seed, they have the best goalie in hockey, Connor Hellebuck, there was money to be made. And in that last third period, we saw a lot of bets, basically 20-1 or longer, including 50-1. We took 2 50-1 bets. That's got to be in the last 3 minutes of the game. And then obviously they score in overtime. And there's nothing better, in my opinion, than an overtime game winner at home in the playoffs in Game 7. It's like the backyard play the kids dream up their entire lives.
You can't write it, man. I mean, you can't write this stuff. It's unbelievable. I mean, I guess they bet Winnipeg too because all 7 games were decided by the home team.
Yeah.
I gotta ask. I had a whole little thing on First Class, Second Class, No Class about what the Denver Nuggets did with Mike Malone. I thought firing him with 3 games to go in the regular season was nuts. I said, how could you expect any coach to come in that situation, even an interim that's been there, and what? Now they're going to all be on the same page and get into a really competitive series in the first round of the playoffs and win. This is going to be better. Well, I got to eat my words because
would we have any different result with Malone?
I don't know. I know this was the most competitive series in the first round, and they win Game 7 convincingly. I didn't know anything about David Adelman other than Rick Adelman, his dad, coached in the league forever and is in the Hall of Fame. But Troy, watching Denver in this series, first of all, how did the action go on Saturday? And he was real matter of fact after the game. He said, "Yep, happy to win, but I know we got to get on a plane and go to Oklahoma City tomorrow. So I'm going to be a little bit blunted in my celebration here." But what did the book take on that?
We ended up winning on Game 7, not significantly, but probably cost of doing business, I'd say. And the series really seesawed in terms of, which side people were betting on. I mean, in the first 2 or 3 games, it was all on the Clippers. I think the public really reacted to the firing. They thought that, this is just a mishandling. The NBA teams' motivation fluctuates greatly, especially when you change something like that. Players we know can check out pretty quickly. And in the playoffs, you blow 2 games early, you get blown out. Like you can take the wind right out of the sails. But so we took a lot of money on the Clippers in the first 2 games. That shifted as people started to realize, like, wow, this is the Nuggets team. Maybe not the same exact team that won the NBA Finals, but like this is a team that's clicking, that's playing together. Obviously, you hit that crazy shot from Jokic to Aaron Gordon, and that's really when people started to swing back towards the favor of the Nuggets, and we saw the Nuggets. I believe it was like 66% of the money and 65% of the spread money to win Game 7. And what I like is I like the value that is presented on the Nuggets to win their series against the Thunder. Now, I do not think the Nuggets are going to win the series against the Thunder. I do think it's going to be a long series if the Nuggets play like they did in Games 4, 5, 6, and 7 against the Clippers. But right now, you can get the Nuggets at plus 500. It's the second longest series odds, just behind the Knicks at plus 550 to beat the Celtics. Don't see that happening. But I can see the Nuggets, pushing this thing to the brink, and all I have to do is win 1 game, and you have Nikola Jokic. So plus 500 to win the series is a really good value for me, even though I do favor the Thunder to advance to the Western Conference Finals.
The other story out of the weekend, one of the other stories out of the weekend, Golden State, who kind of flim-flammed away Game 5. And you say, oh, well, we've seen Golden State do this before. They sort of got a game to play with. They throw it away. They come back home. They take care of business. Not this time. They come home and lose on Friday night. So it sets up Game 7 on the road. And Buddy Hield, we saw him here in the Assembly Center against the Ben Simmons LSU Tigers. And he was great that year at Oklahoma. Last night, I wouldn't have had him to outscore Steph Curry by 11 points, but he did. And where was the action here on the Warriors on the road in the Game 7?
Yeah, it was on the Warriors. Not super strong, but definitely favored. Golden State. 65% of the money line money was on the Warriors. 59% of the spread money was on the Warriors. Similar tickets, 60% of the money line tickets, 56% of the spread tickets. And if you didn't have Buddy Hield to score 11 more points than Steph Curry, but I know that at least a dozen people bet on Buddy Hield to be the game's top scorer before the game started. This isn't live; you can't do that. It was 100-1.
Oh wow!
I would not. I mean, that's a monopoly money bet if you're going to make it. Throwing some pizza money out there, but when I was looking at some long odds winners from the weekend, I was blown away. Just because in a game with Steph Curry, it's really hard to bet on anyone else to be the top scorer in the game.
I hate to say it, Troy, but watching that run in the second quarter, and when Curry's he's not going to stay at 2 forever. Buddy Hield's finishing off the first half with 23 or something. I'm like, this is kind of, man, how is an offensively challenged team like Houston gonna win? And Barkley was killing them because of their shooting, so getting a gym. But once again, man, in the big game in the playoffs, experience wins out.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's what a lot of the betting public leaned on. The Rockets have been very good this year. Obviously, they were terrible 2 or 3 years ago. They drafted very well. They're back in a really good, sustainable position. But this is a team in the Golden State Warriors. I know they're a shell of what they were 5 years ago, but still it's hard to bet against Steph Curry, Steve Kerr, Draymond Green, love them or hate them. Obviously Jimmy Butler there as well. So it's very hard to bet against this team in a win or go home scenario. So I think having the Nuggets and the Warriors move on is very good for the book, just because those games are going to be heavily bet on. The Nuggets are a very heavily bet on team. The Warriors are right up there with the Lakers in terms of, how much money we take on their game. So having them around for, another series, 4 games minimum, is very good for the overall handle of the games coming up.
All right, Charlie. I'm sorry, Troy, the exhale spot tomorrow night, it's going to be big. I see it's 10.5 right now, Game 2 with Cleveland, Indiana. We know the zigzag. We know the exhale. We know the whole type of deal. When that visiting team wins that first game, they are plowing in. And a lot of times, it's a rout. What did this line start at? What did it open at when it's at 10.5 now?
Oh, that's a good question. I don't know. I want to say it may have been 1 point either direction. I don't think it was like 12.5, 13.5, and I don't think it was 7.5. That's the one I'll have to check. But, I did really like the Pacers to steal game one. I thought that was a very smart play by a lot of people, because I love the Cavaliers backcourt, but who do they have that's going to stop Tyrese Halliburton? He impacts the game on so many levels. I don't think they had a Halliburton stopper, and he was very, very good in game one. I do agree that it's got to be Cleveland in game two, evident by the fact that they're minus 480 on the money line. That seems a bit ridiculous given that they lost game one. But like you said, there is a huge, shift back to the other side when when the opposing team steals game one. It's unlike hockey where, you can potentially go down 2 at home. That really doesn't happen a lot in the NBA where a home team loses the first 2 games of the series, especially not in the second round.
Can I ask one question about Houston before we let that go? Do you think that they are going to make a run at Giannis? Because I say that because they're in better position than just about anybody. They've got draft capital from Phoenix, from Dallas, from Brooklyn. They've got young players. Like they could run Reed Shepherd, who was a top 5 pick, into a trade and not even affect their depth. They could put Jabari Smith into a trade and not drastically affect their depth. They could put together a really attractive package with Milwaukee. I'm just wondering because in my head that's the favorite is Houston, where he's going to go.
Or will they have one superstar emerge out of these young guys? These guys are so young.
Yeah.
I mean, these are G leaguers and one and doneers in college basketball.
But isn't it more like Jalen Green and Sengun and
Sengun?
Sengun.
Yeah. Sengun's a star, but it's just way too one-dimensional with their offensive approach in the half court. He's got to do it all. I mean, it's just. I mean, look. I feel like I'm watching Jeff Rulin again for the Bullets. Troy, you can relate. I mean, how many times they just bully ball, just boom, 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 right down there. I mean, but that's what they have. It's a tough question because they got some guys that if they give up on, they could be stars somewhere else.
Yeah, absolutely. And their young nucleus is really, really good. I do think Houston is in the best position to offer a really good trade to the Bucks. My personal opinion, and I love Giannis, is I think whatever the trade package is going to be too much. I think he is, even though he's still elite, you're not getting the Giannis of the last 5 years. His body is going to take a toll, or he's going to take a toll on his body. You're going to see him slow down in the next few years. So you're getting, I won't say he's on the twilight of his career, but that is approaching, in my opinion. I don't think he is the same player he was 2 or 3 years ago. So, but you have to pay like he is Giannis, the best player in the world. So I think it's going to, whatever package is going to be a lot. But the Rockets, I think they have just enough in terms of players they're not going to trade. That they still have really good players to trade. That they can get something done. But there's also does Giannis want to go to the Western Conference and have to play the Nuggets and the Clippers and the Thunder? And, potentially the Spurs, like loaded teams where the Eastern Conference is a bit easier to navigate in the playoffs, especially with, the Celtics and Cavaliers being pretty heavily favorites in their series and then a big drop off. So I think it's safer to play in the East, but, I think that Houston definitely has the best chips, the best draft capital and young players who they could give away without, really hurting their nucleus.
All right. Anything else tonight? Either the Knicks, Celtics, Nuggets, Thunder game series. Anything that's caught your attention?
Yeah, like I mentioned, I do have a small bet on the Nuggets to win the series just because it was at 5-1, and I really like that price compared to what I thought it would be. But for the game it's right now, I've been doing much better in the live betting category. I've not really. Diving into it pregame, but I will give you one more from the weekend that I actually did hit on, and it was in the UFC card. Bo Nickel, who is one of the best college wrestlers of all time, won 3 national championships at Penn State. He was undefeated in the UFC. Amazing wrestler. He fought this guy, Rainier de Ridder. He's a Dutch kickboxer who had been a 2-division champion in ONE FC in Indonesia. He's very, very good. This was his second fight. He was 4-1 as an underdog against Bo Nickel, who's thought to be the next big thing in the UFC, and he knocked him out with a liver kick in the second round to win, and I got him at 4-1. Him to win by second round TKO or KO was 55-1. So we took a lot of people not buying the Bo Nickel hype train. That was one of the biggest wins for the public, just because it was a knockout artist going up against a wrestler. Bo Nickel is all over the internet, and some people are souring on him. It proved to form. So that was a nice win for me on a pretty surprising weekend of fights, with Ryan Garcia losing in the center of Times Square. So big fight weekends this weekend and upcoming soon with a lot of playoff action. So like I said at the start, this is one of my favorite times of the year.
Troy, we appreciate it. Follow him on X, Troy Macher, Machir. Appreciate it as always. We'll talk to you on Friday.
Sounds good. Thanks, guys.
We're brought to you in part by Louisiana Health and Injury Centers, helping you deal with pain. Dr. Michael Goff and his staff done a great job for our family over the years. So if you've got back pain, neck pain, muscle soreness, things that are keeping you from getting around as well as you'd like, or they're keeping you from getting a good night's sleep, let them help you out. They'll target those problem areas, get you in a program that makes sense for you, and get you to feeling better. I know, because that's what they've done for us, whether it be the exercises and stretches or into a dry needle or electric nerve stimulation, cryo, ultrasound therapy. Airline Highway, Plank Road, Jefferson Highway near Drusilla, Dr. Michael Goff, Louisiana Health and Injury Centers. Take a break here, live at Modesto, live at lunch, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Live at lunch.
If you're near the north side of campus, I need to remind you about a couple of longtime favorites. Highland Coffee's the original specialty coffee shop in Baton Rouge since the 1980s. My personal favorite. Love getting my cappuccino from their friendly, knowledgeable staff. Roasted right in the shop. Louis Cafe for breakfast and lunch 7 days a week. The Michelin omelet, Cajun hash browns, Big Cheesy Lou, all served up in that famous open kitchen atmosphere. In Tigertown since 1941. A couple of great spots. Highland Coffee's and Louis Cafe just outside the north gates of LSU.
Since the 1930s, Supreme Rice has delighted their customers for all of your favorite South Louisiana dishes. Whether you like the brown, long grain, medium grain, jasmine, or the new parboiled rice, Supreme Rice makes your favorite dishes even better. They even have a healthy low glycemic rice, a great option for diabetics and those who have high insulin resistance. Supreme Rice is proud to be part of the Climate Smart program, which promotes water conservation and reduces methane emissions so future generations of Louisiana farmers can enjoy the same benefits. For more information and great recipes, find them online at supremerice.com.
Now, everybody's been to Louis Cafe by campus. Heck, it's been around since over 80 years now. We're still doing delicious omelets like the Mitchell, cheesy grits, Big Cheesy Lou, and those Louis' original Cajun hash browns. We now offer a pickup window. Just call in your order at 346-8221. Give us 15 or 20 minutes, and we'll have it ready for you. Our hours are now 6:30 a.m. to 2:30 p.m., 7 days a week. So next time you visit campus, make it a point to stop by and visit an old friend. Louis Cafe, just outside the north gates of LSU.
Since the 1930s, Supreme Rice has delighted their customers for all of your favorite South Louisiana dishes. Whether you like the brown, long grain, medium grain, jasmine, or the new parboiled rice, Supreme Rice makes your favorite dishes even better. They even have a healthy low glycemic rice, a great option for diabetics and those who have high insulin resistance. Supreme Rice is proud to be part of the Climate Smart program, which promotes water conservation and reduces methane emissions so future generations of Louisiana farmers can enjoy the same benefits. For more information and great recipes, find them online at supremerice.com.
Bayou Ford powers the Watch 104.5 ESPN YouTube channel. Watch us live daily. Find what you missed on demand and subscribe to each show's channel to get notified when we go live or new videos arrive. Plus, discover exclusive YouTube broadcasts you can't find anywhere else. From AFR to OTB and everything in between. It's the Watch 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge YouTube channel powered by Bayou Ford.
The new location of Los Reyes Mexican Grill, Wesley across from Mike Anderson's. Man, the place looks great. Lots of indoor and outdoor seating options with plenty of big TVs to watch all your favorite games. All of the traditional Mexican cuisine with a great happy hour, 2:30 to 6:30, 7 days a week. Plus, $5 margaritas all day, all night on Wednesdays. Great spot to bring the baseball team in between games, just 5 minutes north of Traction and 5 minutes south of LSU. Los Reyes Mexican Grill, 1072 West Lee, near Nicholson.
This hour of Live at Lunch with Ott and Hanny is brought to you by Dana Brown at the law offices of O.C. Brown, 343-1111 and OCBrown.com. Roto-Rooter for all your plumbing needs, 925-8710. Supreme Rice, grown, milled, processed in Louisiana since 1936. United Community Bank, the local way to bank big. Tex Morris at Edward Jones Investments on Jefferson Highway, 928-8659. Total Maintenance, your one-stop shop for AC, electrical, generators, and plumbing. Service today, every day for Total Maintenance and Coastal Capital Advisors. Markets evolve. We adapt. the Live at Lunch with Ott and Hanny Restaurant Club. Sammy's Grill on Highland Road, a hometown favorite for tailgating and watching LSU games since 1988. Louisiana Lagniappe on Perkins and Bluebonnet, winner of the most 225's Best of Awards. Snow Seafood and Steak for over 50 years on Airline, Highway, and Highway 74 in Gonzales. Dozy Place for hand-cut steaks on Government Street and Mid-City. Louis Cafe, a Baton Rouge landmark since 1941, just outside the north gates of LSU. Finbom, sushi, burrito, poke, ramen at Burbank and Lee. And Phil's Oyster Bar since 1950 on Government Street to now in the South Downs Shopping Center. Live at Lunch with Ott and Hanny from Modesto on Burbank on 104.5 ESPN, Baton Rouge.
Leave it to Scotty Scheffler to screw up a perfectly good golf tournament and take all of the suspense right out of it this weekend at the Byron Nelson. Shot 61 in the first round and just kind of cruised from there. A pair of 63s, one on Friday, one on Sunday, and
30.
Tied the PGA record at 31 under par. The only thing that was in doubt all weekend was the scoring record. He won the tournament by 8 strokes. Sam Burns shot 17 under par for the tournament and finished 14 strokes off the lead. So every now and then, the best player in the world just decides, and of course, there's a hometown course from him. Scheffler, easy. We had him, but not at much of a price. Scotty Scheffler wins the Byron Nelson. Back with more LSU baseball stuff when we come back here. Cinco de Mayo at Modesto, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Text during happy hour at Modesto. Join us Tuesday through Friday, 2 to 6 p.m. for $10 20-ounce margaritas and dip trio with $5 drink specials and $6 seasonal cocktails. Eat Modesto, 3930 Burbank Drive.
Pizza that's true to its hand-tossed wood-fried tradition. Roca Pizzeria is heating up its new half-off happy hour, Monday through Fridays, 3 to 6 p.m. Come enjoy 50% off margarita, pepperoni, 4 cheese, craft cocktails, wine by the glass, and draft beer. Roca Pizzeria, 3897 Government.
Attention, vehicle owners. Before you trade your transportation, let K&M Automotive give your vehicle a new lease on life with a remanufactured product from Jasper Engines and Transmissions. A Jasper remanufactured engine, transmission, or differential will extend your vehicle's life, giving you the extra cash to do the things you really enjoy. And Jasper offers a 3-year, 100,000-mile nationwide parts and labor warranty. K&M Automotive, 636-2875. That's K&M Automotive, Siegen near Perkins. Workbox can handle all of your movable storage needs, commercial and residential. Our shipping containers come in various sizes, 8x8, 8x10, 8x20, or even 8x40 feet. Not just one size. These units can be customized for any use. Custom lunchrooms, offices, work sites for plumbers or welders, dual purpose, part office, part storage, climate control, shelving, lighting, using different materials, whatever you need. Give my buddy Martin Padiella at Workbox a call at 343-4886, 343-4886, and workboxllc.com.
This is Charles Hanniger for Total Maintenance. Now is the time to get your AC cleaned and checked before those sweltering temperatures arrive. Ensure your unit is performing at max efficiency, lower your monthly bills, and prolong the life of your central air conditioner. Right now, mention my name or Jimmy Ott and get $100 off that service. Down from $179 to $79. Call Total Maintenance for generators, electricity, and plumbing issues. In Baton Rouge, 480-1000, and in New Orleans, call 841-3300. Service today, every day at Total Maintenance. This is Charles Hanniger for Coastal Capital Advisors. When it comes to retirement, no two situations are alike, so Coastal Capital Advisors will tailor a plan for your family's needs, no matter your age or your financial situation. The bottom line is Coastal Capital Advisors will work with you and build a lifetime relationship. I know, because they work for me. For more information, contact Philip Fontenot and his staff at 337-981-1376 or online at coastalcapitaladv.com. Advisory services provided by New Age Advisors, LLC, doing business as Coastal Capital Advisors as a registered investment advisor. Securities offered through New Age Securities, Inc., member FINRA, SIPC. Since the 1930s, Supreme Rice has delighted their customers for all of your favorite South Louisiana dishes. Whether you like the brown, long grain, medium grain, jasmine, or the new parboiled rice, Supreme Rice makes your favorite dishes even better. They even have a healthy low glycemic rice, a great option for diabetics and those who have high insulin resistance. Supreme Rice is proud to be part of the Climate Smart program, which promotes water conservation and reduces methane emissions so future generations of Louisiana farmers can enjoy the same benefits. For more information and great recipes, find them online at supremerice.com.
By now, you know that we do our show every other Tuesday at the Crown Town Room at Doe's Eat Place. The Crown Town Room is ideal for larger groups, or if you just want to watch the game on one of our 3 large TVs. The tamales are the most popular appetizer, but don't forget the seared tuna with a sriracha glaze for the perfect blend of sweet and spicy. You can't go wrong also with the flash fried oysters or the shrimp. The porterhouse is the perfect steak to share. Strip on one side, filet on the other, prepared at different temps if you like, bone in to maximize flavor. Doe's Eat Place on Government Street, just off Acadian in the heart of Mid-City.
Do you plan to travel, work part-time, or move somewhere warmer when you retire? At Edward Jones, we understand that no 2 retirement paths are the same. Contact your local financial advisor today.
In Baton Rouge, call Tony Boudreau. In Gonzales, call John Dawes. And in Denham Springs, call Stephanie Campo.
Edward Jones, member SIPC.
Why do billion-dollar insurance companies regularly delay and deny valid claims? Because that's how they got to be billion-dollar insurance companies. If you've been injured, I'd like to help.
Spencer Callahan is the one to see. Call 387-2323.
LA filing number 16-7969.
WNXX Jackson, KNXX Donaldsonville, and WDGL HD2 Baton Rouge. This hour brought to you by Spencer Callahan Injury Lawyers, LA 21 12681. Offices in Baton Rouge. Live at lunch with Ott and Hanny from Modesto on Burbank on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
And a return here at Modesto, the Cinco de Mayo version. If you're in the vicinity of Burbank at Nicholson, come on by and see all the tents out in the parking lot. The party's just going to grow as we get deeper into the day. We already have a nice crowd out here on the patio where we are set up. Live music starts at 6 o'clock tonight. So great atmosphere. We got blessed with terrific weather. Come on out and see us here at Modesto, corner of Burbank and Nicholson. So LSU loses 2 out of 3 over the weekend to Texas A&M. I'm going to tell you that when you're watching these games and the emotion of a regional-like series comes, and this was a regional-like series. It's a regional atmosphere. One team that desperately needed these wins was at home. A nationally ranked opponent on the other side. You had very close games. Nobody ever got out by more than nobody ever got out to a 3-run lead the whole weekend. It puts that intensity into a place where you think that if the outcome of this game doesn't go your way, it wrecks everything. It's a regional atmosphere, but it's not a regional. And you play like this in a regional, you give up that key home run in a regional, you make that mistake in a regional, the season's over. You do that in these series, and maybe you learn from it. And what I think gets missed more than anything, and this happens every year, is we think that LSU plays in a bubble. We think that LSU's problems, whether it be in the bullpen, which has gotten a lot better, or on offense, which is struggling right now, no question about it, or you don't have a third starter, that the problems are unique to LSU, and they're not. LSU is far from a perfect baseball team, but I don't think that perfect team exists out there right now. The Tigers, with the polls that came out today, are still number 3 in D1 baseball, 4 in perfect game, and 6 in Baseball America. Georgia, which has been swept twice this season, is number 1 in the RPIs. They're number 1 in Baseball America, and they're number 1 in perfect game. Think about that, how you felt about LSU after they got swept at Auburn. It's easy to say, man, this is a disaster. You can't recover from this. No, teams recover from it all the time. Texas was number 1 in D1 baseball this week, despite getting swept at Arkansas. That's how good their record is overall. They're number 2 in perfect game in Baseball America, and they're still number 2 in the RPIs. So LSU, with an 8 RPI, the national rankings are more just kind of as a periphery context than anything. They don't matter where the committee is concerned, but the RPI certainly does, and that's still at number 8. Why should you feel good about LSU at number 8? First of all, the amount of competition that you played in the Southeastern Conference. You have still won series in this league against Oklahoma, against Mississippi State, against Alabama, against Tennessee, against Missouri. I'm not going to give you a whole lot of credit for. They're 0-24 right now, but you've still won 5 out of 8. You got a game at Texas. You got a game at Texas A&M, and you could have easily gotten a second one. One play goes against you. Form is something, but form is not everything. I point back to this scenario a lot. One of probably my favorite LSU baseball team ever was the 96 team. And the 96 team was not exactly setting the world on fire at the end of the regular season. I remember very vividly being at the box when Alabama came in and blew the doors off the last 2 games of the series. I mean, LSU lost both games in blowout fashion. They lost one of them by 13 runs. And then they played Mississippi State 2 weeks later, and they allowed in the series nearly 30 runs, even though they won the series. Then they went to the SEC tournament and got beaten 2 games after winning the opener. And all of a sudden, going into the postseason, they had lost the series to Alabama. They had given up almost 30 runs in a series against Mississippi State. They'd been washed out of the SEC tournament in 3 quick games. They never lost again. Why? Because they had enough talent. We had seen what they had done with enough talent earlier in the season. And yes, the Warren Morris injury was a huge deal that year, and he was just starting to come back, towards the SEC tournament at the end of the season. But everything that they had done to that point told you that they had enough, even if they were going through a bad patch. And that's kind of how I feel about LSU right now. Yeah, it's not perfect, but if they ever put this whole thing together, they're going to be a really hard baseball team to beat. Now, here's some of the things that I liked over the weekend once you get past the fact that they lost the series. I like the fact that some arms stepped up in the bullpen. Maverick Rizzi on Saturday was fantastic. If I'm on the other side and I'm like, hang on, here's a guy that comes out 6'9", he's throwing 98 miles an hour, and this is one of the down guys in their guys that's a little bit further down their bullpen. He's not even one of their top 2 bullpen arms. Well, he certainly looked like it. That's a guy who you can get going, who can get you key outs in the postseason. How many outs did Nate Ackenhausen get for him in 2023 in Omaha? Maybe you didn't think that in the regular season. Anthony Ianson is an obvious one. Did you think he could go a complete game? I'll be honest with you. I thought once they got to the 7th inning, I'm like, wow, look, the pitch count's really down. Look at how Ianson has pitched the last several weeks. Does anybody else have a Cade Anderson, Anthony Ianson 1-2 punch? There's only 4 pitchers in the Southeastern Conference that have 100 strikeouts this season. LSU's got 2 of them. The other 2 are going to go in the first 15 picks of the first round. You can say, well, they didn't get the hits when they needed this week, and they're not getting enough hits. And that's true, but they've also got a 1-2 punch at the top of the rotation that's as good as anybody in the country, especially after Texas has lost their ace. I saw some good things out of the bullpen on Sunday. DJ Premu, who they've used here and there to get out a key left-hander. He comes in and gets out Laviolette. He strikes him out. Laviolette's going to be a really high pick in the draft. Jaden Newt came in, got some outs for him. Cooper Williams comes in. We need you to go get 1 out. Go get Laviolette out. He struck him out too. Chase Shores, he hits the first batter. And by the way, Saturday night when they're warming him up and Ianson's in the game, I'm thinking, this is really not where I want to see Chase Shores have to come in the game, in a 1-run game late in the game, because lately he hasn't been as good. Well, after he hit the first guy, he pitches 2 strong innings. In fact, I even considered, hey, maybe they should keep him in the game. But it's a 2-run game, and you don't want him to pitch to Laviolette when you got a left-hander in the bullpen that you've honestly been saving for this spot. And here comes Connor Ware, and he makes the pitch he wants to make, and Laviolette ends up dribbling it on the left side and ends up becoming a base hit. And then Ware gives up a little bloop to right field. You get Zach Cowan in the game. He puts one on the outside part of the plate, and the ball ends up going out of the park. You're 1 pitch away from getting out of that. Didn't make it, But you're one pitch away from getting out of that. It sounds like I'm rationalizing it. I'm really not. I understand that if LSU hits like this in a regional, they could be gone. It happened. The 2014 team comes to mind. I never thought that team was going to lose in that regional until the last inning of the last game. But all of a sudden, everything just went to pieces for 2 games. That could happen. I'm not oblivious to that. But I do know that if this team puts it all together, and they haven't yet, I haven't seen them play what I would call a complete series in the league yet. I mean, I'm going to throw the Missouri series out there for a little bit. And again, these things are not, just unique to LSU. Florida's got it going right now a little bit. They pounded South Carolina yesterday, but that's a team that came out of the gate 1-9. Mississippi State must be the week for interim coaches. They sweep Kentucky over the weekend. Ole Miss loses the series to Oklahoma, but they get game 3. We told you that Georgia has been swept twice on the road. That's the number 1 team in the country. They played some competitive games with winless Missouri this weekend. Auburn goes to Tennessee and gets a series. Tennessee has now lost 4 of their last 5 series. They've lost 3 straight series. That's a top 12 team in the country. By the way, did you see Tony Vitello yesterday? He managed to get thrown out of the game and dog cuss every umpire on the way off the field. It's kind of like the barbershop routine in Coming to America, where he goes bleep you, and bleep you. Pretty much what he did on the way out yesterday. They've lost 4 out of 5 series. Vanderbilt has to score 7 runs in the last 2 innings to take the series from Alabama. Very competitive series. That Bama bullpen lets them down again. Vanderbilt gets a walk-off home run in the bottom of the 9th, but they had to score 7 in the 8th and the 9th. I tell you all of this to tell you that if there's a perfect team out there, if there's this juggernaut, if there's this team like Tennessee, 3 years ago that dominated the regular season, or that Vanderbilt team in 2013 that finished 26-3 in the regular season, I don't see them. And that includes LSU. But they're every bit as good as every team I just listed. I've seen them play Texas. I've seen them play Tennessee. I don't think that those teams are significantly better than LSU. I don't think that Auburn's significantly better than LSU, and LSU swept them. I don't think that there's any team that comes into Baton Rouge in a regional or a super regional as a favorite, but you got to get that far. That means you got to win 4 of your last 6. You win 4 of your last 6, throwing a game at the SEC tournament, which may or may not have a factor on it, and I think you're going to be fine. I think you host. I don't think you see anybody as good in a regional or even a super regional as good as the top teams in the Southeastern Conference. I love the fact that Arkansas is coming in off of a sweep. There's an obvious letdown factor. You happen to Texas, right? Sweep A&M at home. Go on the road against a really good team, a really souped-up environment, and get swept. Arkansas may be running into a team that's going to be feeling, I think, a little bit stunned at what happened to them on Sunday. And don't minimize this part of it. LSU is going to be finished with exams here in a few days, and they're going to be able to go and just play baseball. And I've had so many former players tell us, hey, listen, and Patrick Coogan's going to join us here in just a few minutes. When school's over and you can just be a ball player, and you kind of feel like a pro because everything's taken care of. The school's still picking up all of the freight. You still got guys that are cooking for you and picking up after you. You still charter flights. You're still staying at nice hotels. You're doing all that stuff. But you don't have to go to school because the semester's over. You feel a little bit more relaxed. You kind of feel that burden is off of you. And I've seen a lot of LSU teams once school is over, and they get into the box, and if it's the kind of atmosphere I'm expecting this weekend, you start to play kind of loose and carefree. That's kind of what I'm expecting this coming weekend. Disappointing loss on Sunday, no question about it. But a cause for panic, not even close, in my opinion. I think that they will be. I think that they'll be just fine coming down the stretch. But they do have to start hitting. I can't say anything about that. You you have to get the bats going a little bit. And I think that they ultimately will. We're brought to you in part by the Thibodeau Store. Thibodeau Store, 900 St. Patrick Highway in Thibodeau. DoItBest.com/Thibodeau Store. We got Mother's Day coming up this week, and you want a unique gift for Mom. They do a great job with the Cypress furniture, the rocking chairs, the gliders, the swings, all of them available there. It's not just for Father's Day. You get one for Mom as well. Don't forget, of course, that they've got a huge selection of grills, including the Big Green Egg cookers and just about any hardware supply that you could ask for. If you're doing home improvements, you don't know exactly how to proceed, the experts at the Thibodeau Store and their sister property, the Pierre Part Store, will walk you through it. Make sure that you're not wasting time and money. So get on to 900 St. Patrick Highway in Thibodeau and online, doitbest.com/Thibodeau Store. Cajun Cookware is also on the website. You can have that delivered free of charge. Again, ThibodeauStore.com doitbest.com/Thibodeau Store. Live in Modesto, live at lunch, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Live at lunch.
Have you been arrested or even issued a traffic ticket? Everyone makes mistakes. Hi, I'm Dana Brown from the law offices of O.C. Brown. If you find yourself in an unfortunate situation with the law, call us today and we can help you resolve your problem, whether it's just a traffic matter or something more serious. No criminal matter is too big or too small for us to aggressively and effectively represent you. Before making any decisions, call us at 225-343-1111 for your free consultation. You can also visit us at ocbrown.com. The law offices of O.C. Brown, your law firm for a lifetime.
Attention vehicle owners. Before you trade your transportation, let K&M Automotive give your vehicle a new lease on life with a remanufactured product from Jasper Engines and Transmissions. A Jasper remanufactured engine, transmission, or differential will extend your vehicle's life, giving you the extra cash to do the things you really enjoy. And Jasper offers a 3-year, 100,000-mile nationwide parts and labor warranty. K&M Automotive, 636-2875. That's K&M Automotive, Siegen near Perkins.
Louisiana, you've got a new home for coverage of LSU, the New Orleans Saints, and the Southeastern Conference. LouisianaSports.net. LouisianaSports.net. Feature stories, opinion columns, recruiting updates, in-game reports. And it's all free. No paywalls, no annoying pop-up ads, no recurring subscriptions. Just the content you crave. From the folks that bring you 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge, it's LouisianaSports.net.
When it comes to celebrating life, there's no better place than Ruffino's. With locations in Baton Rouge and Lafayette, Ruffino's is a steak, seafood, and Italian-inspired restaurant that focuses on the celebration of life, regardless of the occasion. Whether it's the food they serve or the service they provide, their goal is to ensure a remarkable experience for their guests that is always remembered. To view our menu, visit ruffinosrestaurant.com. Ruffino's, where Louisiana comes to celebrate life.
This is Charles Hanniger for Home Bank. Louisiana based since 1908 for all your business and personal banking solutions. For any needs, check out the local bankers ready to help you meet your financial goals with competitive rates, great annual percentage yields, and low minimum balances. Talk to one of the local bankers at any Baton Rouge location, corporate, Sherwood Forest, Longform Village, and Bluebonnet. You'll also find Home Bank locations in Acadiana, New Orleans, the North Shore, Natchez, and Houston. Visit home24bank.com for more information. Home Bank, member FDIC.
Now, everybody's been to Louis Cafe by campus. Heck, it's been around since over 80 years now. We're still doing delicious omelets like the Mitchell, cheesy grits, Big Cheesy Lou, and those Louis' original Cajun hash browns. We now offer a pickup window. Just call in your order at 346-8221. Give us 15 or 20 minutes. We'll have it ready for you. Our hours are now 6:30 a.m. to 2:30 p.m., 7 days a week. So next time you visit campus, make it a point to stop by and visit an old friend. Louis Cafe, just outside the north gates of LSU. The Grand Bayou Casino, conveniently located off I-10 at exit 139 in Gross Tech, offers the latest video poker machines 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Got a great staff at the Grand Bayou Casino. Our inviting staff will greet you with complimentary coffee and sodas as you enjoy listening to the curated tunes in our comfortable seating. Make the trip to Grand Bayou Casino, where players are welcome. The Grand Bayou Casino, I-10 at the Gross Tech exit. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem, call 1-877-770-STOP. The Grand Bayou Casino. With all of the financial headlines, are you worried if your retirement savings will last? The market's ups and downs can keep you guessing, especially if you're approaching retirement or considering it. If you have more questions and answers about what's next, let's work together to help ensure you're prepared for your journey. After all, retirement isn't the end of the trek, it's a new beginning. Stop by your local Edward Jones advisor. Tex Morris on Jefferson. Edward Jones, member SIPC.
Live at lunch with Ott and Hanny from Modesto on Burbank on 104.5 ESPN, Baton Rouge.
Back here at Modesto, live at lunch, Cinco de Mayo version here. Festivities going on all day, Burbank at Nicholson. Lots of tents out in the parking lot. Lots of room here on the inside. Live music starting at 6 o'clock. Going to be a lot of fun here at Modesto. We invite you to come on out and see us. Let me bring in now Patrick Coogan, two-time national champion with LSU. Talk a little bit of LSU baseball with him. Cougs, how you doing, man?
I'm doing great, Charlie. Happy Cinco de Mayo to you.
Happy Cinco de Mayo, this American holiday of that we sort of invented. You got a chance. You've had a chance to watch this team all year. The upside is obvious, but they haven't been able to, in any one weekend, really put it all together. When a team gets to this point in the season, Patrick, and you were on teams that really kicked it in the postseason, tell me what the feeling is right now and what you're trying to figure out with just a couple of weeks left to go in the regular season.
Yeah, I think, Charlie, if you'd asked, if we were having a conversation, let's say 8 weeks ago, about 2 months ago, and I told you that when LSU went to play at College Station, and that LSU was going to average giving up 6 hits a game, what would you have said the outcome of that series would be?
That LSU would win at least 2 and probably all 3 games.
That's right, because our offense, was so hot, and our pitching wasn't doing great. Right, the bullpen was unsettled at that point. We didn't know who was in certain roles, and quite frankly, we still don't really have a good defined, role for each guy. But LSU's kind of going into a little bit of a slump, right? And we experienced a little bit back in 1996. Towards the end of the year, we didn't finish strong, and then we went to Hoover and kind of mailed it in. We got beaten, jumped right back on a bus, and went back home to Baton Rouge, only to get recharged. And that was kind of by design. Coach Bertman didn't really, at the time, care too much about the SEC tournament, except he wanted to get all his pitchers that needed some innings to throw, and after that was fine. And so. Right now, LSU offensively is in a little bit of a slump, but the pitching staff has come together. I think you mentioned a complete series. I think the closest thing we may have seen to that yet would be in Oklahoma. There were some unusual circumstances there with weather and all that, but that may be the closest we've seen to an offensive and defensive, pitching aspect of this team putting it all together. So. I think, yes, the best, as a combined group is yet to be seen. We know these guys can hit. It's becoming obvious that Milam and Curiel are big catalysts in this offense. And when they're down a little bit, so goes the offense. Do I expect them to stay down for long? No, because they're really good professional type hitters. And I think they're in a little bit of a lull right now. And hopefully they're getting out of it at the right time, and this team comes together and is able to put a postseason run together.
Jay Johnson, I thought, pushed most of the right buttons with the pitching staff this weekend. I not that he had a whole lot to do in the second game on Saturday because Ianson was great, but he got 6 innings out of Cade Anderson on Friday. Well, in game 1, and Cowan didn't have his best stuff. But he got him out of the game pretty quickly. He didn't stay with him too long. I mean, he only threw to 4 batters. And then they were able to finish out that game. Then Eisen throws his gem. I mean, he's throwing every left-hander he's got out there. He threw Primo out there. He threw Williams out there. He threw Ware out there, and they all pretty much did the job. He was mixing and matching with the best of them, and then at the end, A&M gets the big hit off of his best guy. So that just happens. But I think he's got some decisions to make going forward, Patrick, about what he's going to do on Sundays, how he's going to manage his bullpen, and how he's going to manage Kason Evans and Zach Cowan, who are both capable of relieving or starting. We've seen both of them do both things. So what do you think after you get past the first two about how Jay Johnson will manage this?
I think the only thing on yesterday that maybe he would have liked to have seen better was maybe extend Kason Evans just a little bit longer. But if you'd have told me going, before the series started that Kason Evans is going to start the game and Zach Cowan is going to finish the game, that's exactly what Jay Johnson wants. And then he can play the matchup lefty-righty thing throughout, which he did, I think, really well with getting Primo to strike out Laviolette. Cooper Williams did a nice job, and Connor Ware threw well, as you mentioned. But if you'd told me that Kason Evans starts and Zach Cowan's in there to finish the game, I figure LSU's got a pretty good chance. Zach Cowan just got, and as a guy who gave up more than his fair share in his time, that happens. Aluminum bats, college stadiums, the ball travels, and so. It's hard for me to say this, but sometimes you tip your cap and kind of just wear it, right? It was a tough result for Cowan, but you'd rather see it now than against Cal Irvine, in a few weeks in the box.
Yeah, I'm not going to get on Cowan. They're not where they are without him. It's easy to say. You put a pitch on the outside part of the plate. It was a good pitch, but that's the way the wind's blowing, and he got a barrel on it and got it up. I'm not saying it was a wind-aided homer, but it certainly didn't hurt anything. I know if he hits that ball to right field with that crosswind the way it was, it would have taken a heck of a poke to get it out. But be that as it may, can I ask you about? I absolutely hate talking about umpiring. I hate talking about officiating in general, because it's a colossal waste of time. The call is the call. But I will ask you what you do as a pitcher when it seems like the strike zone's jumping around on you with two strikes, because I thought that happened to both teams all weekend. When it got to two strikes, the strike zone shrunk up. And I hate umpires that do that. If you got a wide strike zone, fine. You got a small strike zone, fine. Don't change it on me. And I thought that the strike zone jumped around a little bit with two strikes this weekend.
Yeah, that's all you can ask is for a guy to establish a zone early in the game, so everyone knows what the rules of engagement are going to be, right? And when it does jump around like that, especially within the the same at bat, that makes it really difficult on a pitcher. But as a pitcher, you walk a fine line because you're frustrated, you're aggravated, you're mad when you're not getting calls that you got it 0-1 or 1-0 when it's a two-strike count. So you're mad and aggravated. But at the same time, intellectually, I can't show this guy up because he's ultimately in control of my fate. So I like to let our dugout do it, and let the coach take the heat for it. And if he wants to, get animated and get run out because he thinks that that's the best thing, then, good, go for it. But as a pitcher, you really gotta show some self-constraint. And again, I'm not the best example of this, right? Like I'm sure you could go back and find some 8mm film of me playing because that's probably all that's left.
It's in my brain, Patrick. I watched it live. Okay, so it's in my brain. I saw it. I saw it firsthand.
But the worst thing you can do as a baseball player is showing up because guess what? Those guys love to show you right back up. And so you've got to stay in the moment, stay with yourself, and kind of avoid that conflict and let your dugout take care of it for you.
I really thought that, and again, this was both ways. I thought that the strike zone jumped around with two strikes all weekend, and I thought it limited Kason Evans's his ability to get deeper in the game. Think about this. He threw 93 pitches, 3 1/3 innings, and only gave up 1 run. I mean, that's a lot of two-strike balls that, to me looked in the zone. And I thought they got Patton a little bit too. on that. Maybe not quite as bad, but I thought it was all weekend. It was a situation where the pitch counts got up because they simply, in a lot of cases, wouldn't call strike through. I'm going to move on from that. I hear this all the time from ex-players, so I'll let you give a firsthand account of this about how much more relaxed it is for the baseball team once school is over. And we've seen this program, these teams get on some big, big runs. Doesn't happen every year. It's not a given. But once that the burden of school is off of you and you're kind of like a professional, but you're still in college. I've seen some teams play carefree and loose after that. So that's what LSU's got coming on the very near horizon here.
Yeah, that's the exact feeling you have. You do feel kind of like a professional where you really only have one responsibility at that point, and that's just to get to the field and play baseball. You know, I mean, there's still some other things that go on to that, you know, with that, you know, on the ancillary things. You know, you got to rest and recover because, you know, like you hear other things, you got to respect the body and get in there and make sure you're getting your sleep and recovery. But yeah, it is kind of a dynamic shift in your mindset where school's out and it's baseball only time. The media seems to come out a lot more during that time.
Is that a good thing?
Yeah, because you get this sense of postseason baseball more on the line, so your intensity picks up. We always looked at it as a great thing. You know, I mean, we're under the microscope a little bit more, so it must mean more to not only us, but now everyone is starting to get that sense of it. And so you have to up your level because you know the same things going on. Well, we would have said Starkville and Gainesville. You know, it's different now. It's Fayetteville. It's Austin. You know, those guys are feeling the same way, so their intensity's picking up. So the games are going to be more intense. So you know, you just have to rise your level of play to meet the challenge here. And you know, I do expect LSU, and this is probably a little bit of a homerism in me, but I do think this team has a great makeup to challenge deep into the postseason, just because of the way that the bullpen has evolved, and we know what that offense can do when it's right.
Last thing, because you were a starting pitcher that threw a lot of innings for Ianson and Anderson, both up there around 70 innings. It looks to me like they're getting stronger, that the care that they've taken to protect them early in the season, that they've gradually ramped up these pitch counts. These look like guys that I wouldn't have said could get you into the 7th, 8th inning in early April or late March. But now that we're into May, they certainly look like they built the arm strength up, and they look like they're getting better. What's a pitcher feel like when you got 70 innings under your belt and you're in the month of May?
Yeah, it's a little bit different now, you know, just from watching it from the outside now, and you know, kind of still involved with the game and kind of the newer schools of thought on it. Yeah, I always kind of thought Cade Anderson, just because of the efficiency of his motion, could do this. You know, get really deep into games, multiple weekends in a row. Ianson early on, I thought he threw. You know, he was deep in the count. He was striking out a lot of guys, but it seemed like it was 2-2 or 3-2 every time he was getting a strikeout. He's improved his efficiency, but I think more importantly is the physical maturity of these guys, the athletes now. Their bodies are so much different. Their arm care is different. What they do to rest and recover, the strict pitch limits, you know, no actual in-game time in between starts. You know, it's so different these days, and it's so injury phobic, right? And no coach in their right mind is going to do anything to abuse an arm for fear of not getting the next best recruit and be negatively recruited against. So I think some of the dynamics of the game have changed in that aspect. And of course, that's all for the better. But Ianson has really gotten a lot more efficient. You know, he's still striking out. Like this weekend, struck out 14 in the game and still went 9 innings. You have to be really efficient not to get up over that 115, 120 pitch limit and put out those kind of results. So kudos to them. But Jay Johnson and Nate Yeske, Jamie Tutko have done a great job of, you know, watching the analytics, knowing how to treat these guys in between starts. And that's what today's pitcher and baseball player looks like. It's heavy on data, and you're seeing the results of that.
Patrick, always appreciate the time. Look forward to catching up with you again as we get into postseason play. Thanks a lot, man. We'll talk to you soon.
Absolutely, Joe. Talk to you soon.
Patrick Coogan, two-time national champion at LSU. We're brought to you in part by Coastal Capital Advisors, your full-service financial planners, because when it comes to retirement, there are no two situations alike. Coastal Capital Advisors will work with you as well as your business partners, your legal team, and tax professionals to make sure your goals are achieved. They'll work for you, and I know for sure because they work for me. They'll build that lifetime relationship with you. Ease your fears whenever there's a little bit of troubled times. Keep you up to date with what's going on to make the best informed decision for you and your family. Contact Philip Fontenot and his staff, 337-981-1376. Online, coastalcapitaladv.com. That's coastalcapitaladv.com. Advisory services provided by New Age Advisors, member FINRA, SIPC. Back here at Modesto on Cinco de Mayo, live at lunch, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Live at lunch.
This is Charles Hanniger for Coastal Capital Advisors, your full-service financial planners. When it comes to retirement, there are no two situations alike. So Coastal Capital Advisors will work with you, your business partners, your legal team, and tax professionals to make sure those goals are achieved. Coastal Capital Advisors will work for you. I know, because they work for me. For more information, contact Philip Fontenot and his great staff at 337-981-1376 or online at coastalcapitaladv.com. Advisory services provided by New Age Advisors, LLC, doing business as Coastal Capital Advisors as a registered investment advisor. Securities offered through New Edge Securities, Inc., member FINRA, SIPC.
The new go-to pizza joint in downtown Baton Rouge is Town Square Pizza. Town Square Pizza, located on North Boulevard across from the courthouse, right next to Jolie Pearl, is the perfect in-and-out destination when grabbing a quick workday lunch or visiting local attractions on the weekend. Town Square Pizza, you guessed it, square pizzas are consistently flavored and cooked perfectly every single time. It's as simple as that. Town Square Pizza, downtown.
Bayou Ford powers the Watch 1045 ESPN YouTube channel. Watch us live daily. Find what you missed on demand and subscribe to each show's channel to get notified when we go live or new videos arrive. Plus, discover exclusive YouTube broadcasts you can't find anywhere else. From AFR to OTB and everything in between. It's the Watch 1045 ESPN Baton Rouge YouTube channel powered by Bayou Ford.
Go Automotive has a great selection of new cars: Chevy, GMC, Hummer, Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, Ram. You rather a pre-owned vehicle? Using our resources will help find you any vehicle that you're looking for. Our service department offers VIP service. You never have to come to the dealership. We'll pick up the vehicle at your home or office, drop off a loaner, service the vehicle, and return it when it's done. Mention my name, Jimmy Ott, for VIP pricing. The Chevy Tahoe I drive came from Go Automotive. That's Go Automotive in LaPlace and Plaquemine. If you're near the north side of campus, I need to remind you about a couple of longtime favorites. Highland Coffee's the original specialty coffee shop in Baton Rouge since the 1980s. My personal favorite. Love getting my cappuccino from their friendly, knowledgeable staff. Roasted right in the shop. Louis Cafe for breakfast and lunch 7 days a week. The Mitchell omelet, Cajun hash browns, Big Cheesy Lou, all served up in that famous open kitchen atmosphere. In Tigertown since 1941. A couple of great spots. Highland Coffee's and Louis Cafe just outside the north gates of LSU.
This is Charles Hanniger for Total Maintenance for AC and heating, generators, electricity, and plumbing. Total Maintenance is your one-stop sales and service shop for all of these needs. Service today, every day. That's their slogan at Total Maintenance, so nobody ever has to go to sleep hot. Over the years, Total Maintenance has expanded into the New Orleans area, as well as their offices in Baton Rouge with full staffs in both markets. Call 480-1000 in Baton Rouge or in New Orleans, 841-3300. Service today, every day at Total Maintenance.
ALS is a progressive and neurodegenerative disease, and we need your help to find a cure. The mission of the ALS Association, Louisiana, Mississippi chapter, is to discover treatments and a cure for ALS, and to serve, advocate for, and empower people affected by ALS to live their lives to the fullest. Whether you are newly diagnosed, a military veteran, a caregiver, or someone looking to learn more about how to navigate living with ALS, they can help. Visit als.org to learn more. That's als.org.
Louisiana, you've got a new home for coverage of LSU, the New Orleans Saints, and the Southeastern Conference. LouisianaSports.net. LouisianaSports.net. Feature stories, opinion columns, recruiting updates, in-game reports. And it's all free. No paywalls, no annoying pop-up ads, no recurring subscriptions. Just the content you crave. From the folks that bring you 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge, it's LouisianaSports.net. Live at lunch with Ott and Hanny from Modesto on Burbank on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Modesto for the Cinco de Mayo celebration. Got a great crowd here already, but lots of room for you. Still, live music coming up starting at 6 o'clock tonight. We've got fantastic weather. Tents out in front of the facility, so we got a lot of room for you. Come on by and join us here at Modesto. Let's bring in now Eclipse Award-winning handicapper Michael Bachok. Give us his thoughts on the Derby this past weekend. Michael, good afternoon. How are you?
I'm doing well, Charlie. How are you today?
Okay, well, second choice came in, so you know how I felt about this.
well, I mean, look, we gotta clarify the system now, because for people, is it the second choice morning line, or is it the second choice as the betting is live?
It really depends on where I am. If I'm on site, it's second choice going into the gate. If I'm not there, it's probably closer to the morning line. So yeah, I amend it as necessary. You know, this one worked.
Whatever works for you.
Yes,
Look,
it's all
Jimmy,
about me.
You know, we were over at the Beau Rivage, and Jimmy asked me probably 2 minutes before they were going in the gate. He goes, what on the board really surprises you about the odds? And I said, well, I mean, there's no question that Sovereignty at that point, I think he was 9-1. I said, that's too big of a price. But there was nothing I could do about it at that point.
Sure.
2 minutes to post getting to the window anywhere and making a bet was like, plus my online account, I drained that out. So, you know, it was just like, but that to me, that horse, he asked me that question right there. And I had Sovereignty in most of my trifectas and supers and exactas. But I didn't bet him to win, but he certainly presented to me as the horse as they were getting near the gate that offered more value than what the bettors, or more credit than what the bettors were giving him.
Michael, talk about how the race set up for these were the two morning line favorites, Journalism and Sovereignty. How it set up for them with the early speed from the inside, the Baffert horse. Oh gosh, I'm blanking on his name now.
Citizen Bull.
Yeah, Citizen Bull.
Yeah,
the early speed,
like a bull, right?
The race set up for these favorites who had enough horse in the slop to circle a field and come down the stretch.
The race set up, you know, this was frustrating for me as a bettor. The race set up almost exactly as I diagrammed it and as I explained last week. I thought the early speed was just way too cheap here and would just all quit, and that the closers would come from behind, you know, would close, and that's who we'd be dealing with. And that's pretty much exactly what happened. Unfortunately, the closer that I went with was Final Gambit, who I believe went all the way to the outside rail to grab a hot dog in the stretch. He must have lost 4 or 5 lengths. I'm not sure he would have never gotten to the top 2, but he would have run third, and that would have, you know, cashed my trifecta. So Final Gambit ran his race. It seemed like both Sovereignty and Journalism ran their race, and they were all, you know, fairly far back in the field, and they just steadily made up some ground because all the horses that were near the front just ran too fast early, and they weren't of quality. They weren't quality speed horses, so they didn't last till the end. And that's you know, kind of race kind of set up. That's the 2 morning line favorites ran first, second.
That was and that was as a race evolved. I'll be honest with you, watching the horses break, maybe, I don't know, 60, 70 yards out of the gate, Sovereignty gets bumped. And it came out after the race that they think that he clipped one of the other horses. This may actually keep him out of the Preakness. We'll see here as the week progresses. But I thought that was it, because you almost need everything to go right for you. And then not only do you have to have a great horse, but you got to get a clean trip. And even something that early in the race sometimes will just it'll knock everything off. So I don't know if you caught that on the replay, that it looked like he got bumped a little bit, may have clipped hoofs, and there may be a small crack there that keeps him out of the Preakness. But he was able to overcome that, and in a race with 20 horses, that's no small thing.
No, it was a tremendous performance. I mean, every horse pretty much gets bumped, but sometimes when they get into a little bit more trouble, and this is odd, like a clipped heel, that will send a jolt of adrenaline through the horse, and it will actually help, and they won't feel that little injury if they have a quarter crack or a hoof or something that got bloody or cut until after the race, because look, they got adrenaline going just like we do. You just get all keyed up. The horse that I think got the worst trip was one that I was touting, Burnham Square. I was watching him on the backstretch, and he was on the rail in a really good position, I don't know, 14, 15, and he just got stopped cold. And at that point, in half the race was over, he didn't have enough time to recover, right? And so he ended up running, I think, in the top 10. But you're exactly right. You got to have everything go right. I mean, almost everything go right. And, those horses, the two that ran first and second, and even Baeza, who ran third, they had pretty clean trips from behind, pretty clean trip. I mean, not clean in terms of they were muddy and dirty, but they didn't have too much trouble. And they ran their race. And it's been a while since the top two morning line favorites. Kudos to whoever made the morning line. They run first and second.
Michael, we got another week or so before we, get the Preakness stuff going. But with the Belmont this year being at Saratoga again, 1.25 miles, they're not going to 1.5 miles at the Belmont. It's the second straight year of that. A lot of these owners are pointing their horses towards Belmont and not Pimlico. What do you think? Just first impressions here, and again, we don't know about Sovereignty in the clip, but what does the Preakness field look like because the Triple Crown is different this year with a different distance and a significantly lesser distance at the Belmont Stakes?
Well, I think the Preakness has kind of lost a lot of its luster over the past, decade or so. That's number one. The purse sucks. They're not running for a lot of money. That's something. And I think these owners are pretty much figured out that, if you go there and you lose, then you've basically taken yourself out of the Belmont, which is really where there's more money and there's more breeding prestige. So you're going to enhance your value much, much more if you run. Now, I'm not saying that a Derby winner, it's very rare for them to skip. Now, Billy Mott did it with Country House, I think it was 3 or 4 years ago.
Yeah.
But I don't think that horse ever ran again. So he really got hurt. I don't expect Sovereignty to run in the Preakness.
Really?
That's just, no, I don't. Again, because I just think that they're Godolphin. They want to win the Belmont. It's more prestigious. It'll enhance his value, and they're really not really looking for value. I mean, they own the horse, not going to sell it. They're not going to syndicate that horse. They're going to do what's right by the horse, and that is not running him back on, 2 weeks rest and jeopardizing their possible Belmont. And if he runs in all three, then you really jeopardize the rest of the year, because that's just such a tough stretch to run 3 races in 7 weeks like that. So I don't think he's going to run. I think Rodriguez, is probably the Baffert horse that scratched. He's probably going to run. He might be the favorite, but it's going to be, a diminished marquee race without the Derby winner for sure.
Yeah. The other thing is Pimlico's a dump. They finally got the money allocated in Maryland. No, it is. It's an absolute dump. They finally got the money from the state authority last year to start the renovations, but they're far from finished. So right now, the facility itself, the brick and mortar, is a dump. That's very common knowledge in the horse racing community that it is in bad need of a facelift. So add that to the list of things with the Preakness. Michael, we'll look forward to talking with you when we get that field set here next week. Thanks so much for joining us today.
Sounds good. All right. Thanks, Charles.
We're brought to you by Total Maintenance, AC and heating, generators, electricity, plumbing. Total Maintenance, your one-stop sales and service shop for all of these things. Since 1980, the slogan's been service today every day. So nobody's ever got to go to sleep hot. Total Maintenance in New Orleans and Baton Rouge. Authorized dealer for Carrier, American Standard, Daykin, and Ream AC units, and Generac and Cummings generators. For all your electrical and plumbing needs as well. In Baton Rouge, it's 480-1000. In New Orleans, 841-3300. Service today every day at Total Maintenance. Back to wrap things up here at Modesto Live at Lunch, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Live at lunch.
Get Moss, Max, and less text during happy hour at Modesto. Join us Tuesday through Friday, 2 to 6 p.m. for 10.
Whenever you're ready.
It's rolling.
This is Charles Hanniger. Join us for the Tuesday edition of Live at Lunch from Mike Anderson Seafood, Wesley at Nicholson. Andy Isco joins us from Las Vegas, and we do first class, second class, no class. Live at Lunch from Mike Anderson's 11 a.m. Tuesday on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Yeah, 3897 government.
Congratulations are in order for one of my favorite places to eat, Snow Seafood and Steaks, celebrating its 50th anniversary. That's right, since 1971, Snow's has been serving a wide assortment of menu items to please everyone. Steaks, seafood, gumbo, homemade soup, salad, specialty cocktails, great wine selection, and oh yes, the best white chocolate bread pudding that you'll find anywhere. It's the total dining experience. Happy 50th anniversary to my friends at Snow's Seafood and Steak, Airline Highway at Highway 74 in Gonzales. By now, you know that we do our show every other Tuesday at the Crown Town Room at Doe's Eat Place. The Crown Town Room is ideal for larger groups, or if you just want to watch the game on one of our 3 large TVs. The tamales are the most popular appetizer, but don't forget the seared tuna with the sriracha glaze for the perfect blend of sweet and spicy. You can't go wrong also with the flash fried oysters or the shrimp. The porterhouse is the perfect steak to share. Strip on one side, filet on the other, prepared at different temps if you like, bone in to maximize flavor. Doe's Eat Place on Government Street, just off Acadian in the heart of Mid-City.
Louisiana, you've got a new home for coverage of LSU, the New Orleans Saints, and the Southeastern Conference. LouisianaSports.net. LouisianaSports.net. Feature stories, opinion columns, recruiting updates, in-game reports. And it's all free. No paywalls, no annoying pop-up ads, no recurring subscriptions. Just the content you crave. From the folks that bring you 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge, it's LouisianaSports.net.
This is Charles Hanniger for Total Maintenance for AC and heating, generators, electricity, and plumbing. Total Maintenance is your one-stop sales and service shop for all of these needs. Service today, every day. That's their slogan at Total Maintenance, so nobody ever has to go to sleep hot. Over the years, Total Maintenance has expanded into the New Orleans area, as well as their offices in Baton Rouge with full staffs in both markets. Call 480-1000 in Baton Rouge or in New Orleans, 841-3300. Service today, every day at Total Maintenance.
Get Moss, Max, and less text during happy hour at Modesto. Join us Tuesday through Friday, 2 to 6 p.m. for $10 20-ounce margaritas and dip trio with $5 drink specials and $6 seasonal cocktails. Eat Modesto, 3930 Burbank Drive.
Pizza that's true to its hand-tossed wood-fried tradition. Roca Pizzeria is heating up its new half-off happy hour, Monday through Fridays, 3 to 6 p.m. Come enjoy 50% off margarita, pepperoni, 4 cheese, craft cocktails, wine by the glass, and draft beer. Roca Pizzeria, 3897 Government.
Congratulations are in order for one of my favorite places to eat, Snow Seafood and Steaks, celebrating its 50th anniversary. That's right, since 1971, Snow's has been serving a wide assortment of menu items to please everyone. Steaks, seafood, gumbo, homemade soup, salad, specialty cocktails, great wine selection, and oh yes, the best white chocolate bread pudding that you'll find anywhere. It's the total dining experience. Happy 50th anniversary to my friends at Snow's Seafood and Steak, Airline Highway at Highway 74 in Gonzales.
ALS is a progressive and neurodegenerative disease, and we need your help to find a cure. The mission of the ALS Association, Louisiana, Mississippi chapter, is to discover treatments and a cure for ALS, and to serve, advocate for, and empower people affected by ALS to live their lives to the fullest. Whether you are newly diagnosed, a military veteran, a caregiver, or someone looking to learn more about how to navigate living with ALS, they can help. Visit als.org to learn more. That's als.org.
Live at lunch with Ott and Hanny from Modesto on Burbank on 104.5 ESPN, Baton Rouge.
When LSU broke camp from spring football, Brian Kelly said he was very happy with his roster, felt he had a roster that could compete, and they figured to be, pretty quiet in the last portal, the spring portal. Well, that was with the caveat that if somebody came along across their radar that they really liked and they could get, well, they would make a move. Over the weekend, A.J. Halsey from Houston Cougars committed to LSU. He was an all Big 12 selection last year, 74 tackles, 5 interceptions, 13 passes defense. He's been a full-time starter the past 2 seasons, started his career at New Mexico. But the 5 interceptions was tied for the most in the Big 12. He had 259 career tackles. This is a week after adding South Florida defensive tackle Bernard Gooden. So if you're into such things, this makes him the number one transfer portal class in the country again. If they felt like they had enough coming out of spring and they had these two guys, they got to be real confident in what they can bring to the table. And safety, to be kind was a problem last year. If you use the actual words with how the safety play was last year, it wouldn't just be problematic. It was flat out bad. So coming out of spring, you have added now in 2 players that were high-level performers at power conference schools, and Tamarcus Cawley from NC State, and now Halsey, A.J. Halsey from Houston. So hopefully that and I'm a big Deshaun Spears fan out of Denham. I thought that there were times during his freshman year that he showed some real promise. So hopefully between that, Jordan Gilbert, that was a starter last year, David Toviano, that you got enough guys back there, but they had a big piece with A.J. Halsey from Houston. Going to be a great day here at Modesto for Cinco de Mayo. Come on out. The live music starts at 6 o'clock. Huge tents out in the parking lot, so lots of room for everybody. Great food, too. Going to be a lot of fun here. I hope you can make it in your plans to stop by and see us. Tomorrow we're at Mike Anderson's for Jimmy Ott. For Jordan Gilbert, Jordan Kitchens back in the studio. Charles Hanniger saying thank you and good afternoon. Stay tuned for Hunt Palmer, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
We do our show every other Tuesday at the.
All right, Hanny. You
have
a good one.
Can you play safety?
Yeah, hey, they need me. I got like 1 year of